Chapter 17. The judgment on the great harlot who sits on many waters. Chapter 17, verses 1 through 3. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. One of the 7 angels offered to St. John to show him the judgment on the great harlot who sits on many waters, with whom the kings of the earth committed fornication, and with the wine of whose fornication those upon the earth became drunk. Some have understood this harlot to be ancient Rome, as being disposed upon 7 hills. They consider the 7 heads of the beast as the 7 most impious of all the emperors who, from Domitian to Diocletian, persecuted the church, 1st through 4th centuries. St. Andrew, citing this opinion, says further, But we, being guided and forming our conception according to the sequence of events, think that the harlot is in general the earthly kingdom, represented as it were in one body, or the city which is to reign even unto the coming of Antichrist. St. Andrew chapter 53. Some commentators see in this harlot the church, which is unfaithful to Christ, which is bowed down to Antichrist, or the society of the apostates of God, that part of Christian humanity which will enter into close contact with the world of sin, will serve it and depend entirely upon its crude power, the power of the beast, Antichrist, which is why this woman is shown to the seer of mysteries as sitting on a scarlet beast. For the beast himself and his scarlet appearance serve as an indication of severity, cruelty, and a predisposition to murder. St. Andrew chapter 53. Chapter 17, verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. The purple, scarlet, and gold are symbols of her royal authority and dominion. St. Andrew says to this, The cup signifies the sweetness of evil deeds before they are tasted, and the gold indicates their preciousness. St. Andrew chapter 53. The members of this church, which is unfaithful to Christ, or the society of the apostates of God, will be fleshly men, given over to sensuality. As one of the commentators says, being filled with outward piety and at the same time not foreign to feelings of crude love of honors and a vainglorious love of fame, the members of the unfaithful church will love luxury and comfort, and will begin to arrange luxurious ceremonies for the powerful of the world. See Apocalypse chapter 17 verse 2 and chapter 18 verses 3 through 9. To attain holy aims by sinful means, and they will preach exclusively by the sword and gold. N. Vinogradov. Chapter 17 verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. St. Andrew says to this, The writing upon the forehead indicates the shamelessness of unrighteousness, the fullness of sins, and disturbance of heart. She is a mother, for she leads those in the cities under her by her fornication of soul, giving birth thereby to iniquities which are vile before God. St. Andrew chapter 53. A more general commentary is inclined to see in this harlot, who bears the name of Babylon, the whole crudely sensual and anti-Christian culture of mankind in the last times in general, for which is prepared a frightful, universal catastrophe at the end of the world in the second coming of Christ. The fall of this Babylon is presented in the Apocalypse as the first act of victory in the worldwide battle of the Church of Christ with the sinful kingdom of the devil. Chapter 17, verse 6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus, and when I saw her,
I wondered with great admiration. Here is meant all the martyrs for Christ who have suffered in the course of the history of the world, especially during the time of Antichrist. Chapter 17, verse 7 and 8. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. Further, the angel who showed the harlot to St. John gives him an explanation of the whole vision. St. Andrew says that this beast is Satan, who, having been put to death by the cross of Christ, will again, as it is said, come back to life at the end. By false signs and miracles he will, through the Antichrist, act for the overthrowing of the cross. Therefore he was and acted up to the time of the cross, and then he was no longer, inasmuch as by the saving passion he was made powerless and was deprived of the authority which he had over the peoples through idol worship. St. Andrew chapter 54. At the end of the world, Satan again will come in the way indicated by us, coming out of the pit, or from the place where he was condemned, and where the demons, banished by Christ, begged him not to send them, but rather into the swine. Luke chapter 8, verses 30 through 32. Or he shall come out of the present life, which is called the pit, metaphorically by reason of the depth of sin in this life, which is tossed about and agitated by the winds of the passions. For the destruction of men, Antichrist will also come out from this place, having Satan in himself, so as to receive his perdition quickly in the age to come. St. Andrew chapter 54. Chapter 17, verse 8. And they shall dwell on the earth, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. By reason of the false miracles, he says those that are not written in the book of those who live eternally, and who have not studied this in accordance with the prophecies of Christ, will be astonished at the coming of the beast. They will be astonished also, reflecting on how he has again received his previous authority. St. Andrew chapter 54. See also Apocalypse chapter 13, verse 8. Chapter 17, verses 9 and 10. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. Inasmuch as this is said spiritually, he says, to understand it requires spiritual wisdom. In these 7 heads and 7 mountains, St. Andrew sees 7 kingdoms which have a special worldwide significance and power. Assyria, the Medes, Babylon, Persia, Macedonia, Rome, and its 2 periods, the period of the Republic and the period of the Empire, or the ancient Roman period and the newer Roman period from Emperor Constantine. Under the name of 5 kings who have fallen out of the 7, Blessed Hippolytus understands ages, of which 5 have already passed. The 6th, in which the apostles saw this, is still going on, and the 7th age, which follows upon the 6th, has not yet come. But when it comes, it will not continue long. Or the kings are the 7 kingdoms which have been from the beginning of the world until now. 5 have already fallen. The 6th, under which the revelation was made, was ancient Rome, and the 7th is yet to come. This is the new Rome. St. Andrew chapter 54. Chapter 17, verse 11. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. The beast is the Antichrist. He is called the 8th because, after the 7 kingdoms, he will arise for the deception and laying waste of the earth. St. Andrew chapter 54. He is of the 7 because he has made his appearance from one of these kingdoms. Chapter 17, verse 12 through 14. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. They have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Here, no amount of guessing or supposition can lead anywhere. Some have wished to see in all these kings, as in the beast, Roman emperors, but all of these are forced interpretations. What is being discussed here is, of course, the last times. All these kings who are of one mind with the beast, that is, Antichrist, will wage war with the Lamb, that is, Christ, and will be conquered. Daniel also saw 7 horns coming before Antichrist, which were altogether uprooted by the cursed one, and the others submitted to him. Daniel chapter 7, verses 20 through 24. 1 hour indicates either the shortness of time or a single part of the year. That is, the 3-month period after which they will submit to Antichrist as their chief. St. Andrew chapter 54. Chapter 17, verses 15 through 18. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes, and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. It is noteworthy that the harlot bears the name of Babylon, of whom the Holy Seer of Mysteries says directly in verse 18, that she is the great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth, and that the waters upon which she sits are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. She will be punished and annihilated by the beast, Antichrist himself, whose 10 horns will do this work. Scripture parallels in chapter 17. Chapter 17, verses 7 and 8. Luke chapter 8, verses 30 through 32. And Jesus asked him, saying, What is thy name? And he said, Legion, because many devils were entered into him. And they besought that he would not command them to go out into the deep. And there was there an herd of many swine feeding on the mountain. And they besought him that he would suffer them to enter into them. And he suffered them. Chapter 17, verses 12 through 14. Daniel chapter 7, verses 20 through 24. And concerning its 10 horns that were in its head, and the other that came up, and rooted up some of the former, which had eyes, and a mouth speaking great things. And his look was bolder than the rest. I beheld, and that horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and he gave judgment to the saints of the Most High. And the time came on, and the saints possessed the kingdom. And he said, The 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom on the earth, which shall excel all other kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and trample and destroy it. And his 10 horns are 10 kings that shall arise. And after them shall arise another, who shall exceed all the former ones in wickedness. And he shall subdue 3 kings. Septuagint.